real estate agent? Are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Fanale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
All right, here we are. It's an event. Today's an event, Sekou. It's Real Estate Talk TGIF episode 147. I believe it's 147. Sometimes I forget.
I think it might be 148, man. I don't know, man. You're being pretty consistent with this thing, man.
No, Beth was 147 last week, and we're going 147. So, and I never changed it. Hold on a second. So here we are, everybody. I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF, and it is episode 147. We have done this for 144 weeks in a row now. We had 3 extra shows. And today, while, this is a gentleman that's been on the broadcast several times, more than anybody else. The reason for it is that, number one, we do work side by side, shoulder to shoulder every day.
Yep.
We coach together. We coach each other. We help each other. And you know what? It's like we have each other's back. And the whole point of me saying that is that, look, if you've got somebody in the industry that can work, you can work with, you can talk to, it's extremely important. The big difference in my life, in my career, has been evolution. I've evolved into a different company and a different place of self-worth and self-being and everything. And Sekou is a huge part of that. So Sekou, I want to thank you for being here at Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 147. And of course, Sekou, to ask the question I ask every week, you're the one that might know the answer. What does TGIF stand for?
I think I know the answer. It's thank God it's finale.
Right. That's right.
Let's go. And here's to you with your cup of coffee, man. I'm in a mood, man. We are growing like crazy, and so much stuff happening. I'm very pleasantly flustered. Let me say it like that. Like we got a lot of plates spinning, and it feels exhausting and exhilarating at the same damn time, man.
It is. But, I think the reason, there's a lot of reasons for us doing this broadcast today together, because we want to really be a chock full. And I'm going to quit the BS in a second. We're going to write down a content. But the important part is that we've been in this business a long time, and we've seen the same stuff for as many years and days we've been in this business. And what it is there's agents out there stuck. There's agents out there that are new that want to listen to the agents that are stuck, that don't know what the F they're talking about. Because they're not being persistent. They're not being consistent. It's all about skills. And I want to say the reason we're doing this, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, we've been working together for long enough where we are in lockstep of what we're doing. We know what we want to accomplish. We know where agents can really make money. And that's, as coaches, that's what we want to do. Also, as coaches, we're actually open to being able to. We are open to the new things that we might complain about.
Right.
Right. But we also don't look at everything. We don't look at everything, and we've been working with some great people over the last the years of our business, but the last few months, couple of 6 months, got great people. But I want to get into real estate agent growth. I believe, and I've listened to companies, leaders, team leaders, group leaders, everybody. And the one thing, the common denominator that makes them successful, that makes them able to do 10 million, 20 million, 50, 60, 100, 200. And we know people that are doing in excess of $300 million in volume. The one thing that is consistent in all of their business is picking this thing up. This is the phone, by the way.
Is the 10-ton phone.
Right. All the technology in the world, all of the Zillows, all the different things that are lead generators. Find out how to get 10 listings a day. Find out how to do this. It is not phone avoidance technology. Nothing works. It has been proven for every day and year I've been in the business, and I know for you. So let's get right down to it. Let's
No doubt.
Let's talk about the bases of a business and what it takes. Hit me, baby.
So first, for me, like everything sort of revolves around the analogy. I'm a very visual dude, right? So as a coach, all of my coaching sort of is very ABC. Like picture this, and if you're an agent and you're coaching with me, this is very familiar to you. I talk about the bakery all the time. I talk about your real estate business relating to if you owned a bakery, what you would have to do, and how most of the work is done in the dark. Most of the work is done in the middle of the night when you're prepping for tomorrow. Most of the work is done with you're baking your goods and things like that. And it's only between the hours that your doors are open that you can display all of the work that you've done in the background. That the most important part of your business is going to be the systems that you set up, right? Now, everybody deals with it from that perspective. Everybody is like, I've got to have my database together, and I've got to have this together, and I got to have that together. But what they don't necessarily pay that much attention to is after they've made the lead, after they've generated the contact, after the lights have been turned on and the door is open. How do you interact with your customers and clients? How do you interact with the people that are looking to buy your product, that are looking to interact with your service? What are you doing to show up for them? This is the single place, and every coaching company that I've ever been a part of, every coach that I've ever had, every broker that has ever given us any kind of direction has said the exact same thing. The place where most business falls apart is in the follow-up.
That's right.
Is in the follow-up. And so I'm guilty of it. I certainly don't follow up the way that I should all the time. I seek to have follow-up at the highest level possible.
Right.
And at the same time, it is in that journey, is in the quest for the highest level possible, that follow-up happens and you make that mess. We talk about making the mess. Well, right. That's the mess. I have right now with the group, with the DeVoe group, right? I have over 157,000 leads, right? Now, an individual chasing 157,000 leads is going to go crazy. It's going to go nuts.
Right.
So what you're talking about is the 10-ton phone and how most people are avoiding using this. Well, right. The concept that I'd like to present to folks is the only way I'm going to get through 157,000 leads is in addition to, and that mindset, in addition to my calls, I have a follow-up text, there's an email, there's a team member, there's a VA, there's an ISA, there's a this, there's a that. And so when I'm looking to follow up at the highest level possible, I start with the phone and add to it. There's no more avoidance. There's no more avoidance.
What do you mean add to it? What do you mean by that?
So my phone never stops ringing.
Right.
Okay. My phone, I have to hit silence, not vibrate, in order for us to do broadcasts, because if not, all you'd hear in the background is my phone vibrating. Right. And so if I'm doing this, I can't answer the phone. Right. So what do? I have to leverage. So I have to add to myself. I have to add to my own power the ability to answer the phone even when I'm doing something else. Right. So that's addition. I've added to my addition. I've added a service. In the past, it was just an answering service or voicemail. Right. But that's not good enough nowadays. Right. So now I have to add a service. Maybe it's a text message that goes out immediately that says, I'll be right with you, I'm on the phone, or something like that. It is a way for us to follow up with the activities that are happening at a higher level. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, here's one thing that, we can talk all about this, right? But what is an agent supposed to translate to a higher level in definition.
Well, you have to think about it like this, man. All right. So agents nowadays are buying leads. Agents nowadays are looking for all kinds of lead sources.
Right.
And then if I was to ask, okay, what do they get when they get to work with you? Right. So I meet this agent. This agent is, super hot shot agent. They bought 6 zip codes in Zillow, and they've got, Op City leads, and they've got this and that and the other thing. And they're on social media. They got all of this stuff. They got all of the lights. The lights are on. And I say, okay, well, what do they get when they get you? I get the dial tone. Boo. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean
by
that?
The service, the follow-up, what do they get? When I work with you, if I chose you to work with, how are you going to service my needs? How are you going to make me feel? They're like, oh, well, the MLS and, integrity. They hit you with buzzwords that have absolutely nothing to do with service.
Right. And
I say, okay, well, then let's take a step back. Why don't you define service to me? Boo. There's nothing that differentiates them from anyone else, and they don't even have a menu of services.
So now I want to play devil's advocate and just talk about what an agent might say to you. They might say, well, I do my business by referral. So I really don't worry about, about that, because that's how it's happening. But I want to also qualify that statement that I just made in terms of a question, which is, they're doing business by referral by accident, but they're actually getting business from Zillow or from whoever they're paying. And their ROI on that is really not as much as one would think. Now, if you're paying Zillow $1,100 a month, $1,000 a month, and you get one deal a month out of it, which is going to pay you $8,000-9,000, hey, I'll do that every day.
Yep.
Right. But what's happening is they're not following up on leads they're getting to begin with, let alone the daily prospecting they should be doing. The referrals that they're getting are, I'm going to tell you, man, and people may be pissed at me, and I really don't give a shit. They're doing it by accident.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's play the devil's advocate. You say, well, I get my business by referral and I don't really need it. I don't really need that, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would still ask, okay, well, when referred to you from whatever source, what do they get when they work with you? And they're like, well, what are you talking about? I help them find a house. Okay, how? Right? And they're like, Sekou, you come on, you're speaking an alien language. Obviously I'm going to do this. Well, no, it's not obvious. How do you follow up with them? Right? What is your expectation of what service is? Why should I come and work with you? What am I looking for as a client or customer? Right? The agents that are out there that are not honing their follow-up skills, that are not honing their service skills, that are not honing their customization for the business is actually a reflection of that referral business. They didn't work hard to get it, so there's no value attached to that to that lead now that they have it.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you that that their business will continue to go on that roller coaster of up and down if they don't find themselves a pattern of follow-up that has service at its heart and that is designed with the customer in mind, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. So, but what the interesting part is that designed with that customer in mind. I mean, we talk about this on a regular basis of what they're all about. Why are they in business? What's the feeling that a customer, a buyer or a seller are going to get when they work with you, right? What perspective are you coming from, right? We all know what I'm talking about. If you can actually verbalize why you're in business, what happens when people work with you, right? What are they going to feel about it from you? What are your thoughts and processes and your beliefs of what's going on? I mean, that's what your basis is. And that's actually the answer to the question.
Well, think about it like this, Fanale. If I'm working with you as a client or a customer or as a prospect, and the feeling that I get as a client, customer, or prospect is that I could be wasting your time as the agent or the broker. Something's broken there. Something is broken there. And so that's the follow-up that 98% of those agents out there are doing.
So
they're like, yeah, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
So let's go on. Let's go on with this next point, right? Which is what you've been alluding to, is basically, there's a lot of people out there. We've both been alluding to. There's a lot of people out there that can be their customers, right?
Yeah.
And if you're using this thing consistently, and I'm going to say it's a phone because people my age might not know what it is.
He's using a small black block.
Plastic. But if you're actually doing the basis of your business, which is prospecting, so what is the definition, or what is the job description of a real estate agent? It's talking to buyers and sellers, getting contracts signed, buyer contracts, listing contracts. Oh yeah, before that, it's prospecting. Yeah. That is the real estate agent's job description. That's it.
What up, Nikki?
Right. So when we look at that, it's all about chasing the business when the business is in front of you, right? So if you work for, I don't know, if you work for some company, you work for a company, you work 9 to 5, and you're in a sales position, they're going to give you, here, call this list, ask them this, right? And basically, the only thing that's not happening, the only difference between our business and that is they have to go, okay, I got to go get this list, and no one's going to tell me to do it. It's called, wait a minute, independent.
Independent. Dude, you said, what's the job, right? What's the job, right? So the job is very simple. 3 C's. Connect, content, convert.
Connect, content, convert. Right.
That's that. We would make it fun. I was calling that the creme de la creme, right? Right. And so connect, content, convert, right? However we connect with the people, you got to make the contacts in order to deliver the content. Right. And then when you're delivering the content, it makes it easy to connect.
So watch this, right? So you're making the contact by prospecting, right? And then people say, well, I make the calls and I do things by referral, but social media is not something what I want to do. Honestly, guys, you got to understand something. It all goes together, right? The content is not only on the phone with what you're talking to people. It's also when people go to follow up. The customer's follow up is not the call to you. It's their verification that you are who you say you are. Look, man, it's not, it's not going to the library anymore. It's going online, and they're going to social media to find out if you are who you are. And that's where you're posting. And not only posting, you've got to post with purpose.
Yeah.
You've got to go live. You got to go live with purpose. You have to be purposeful about everything you're doing, as well as the content that you're using on your phone call and on everything else. Right.
Well, think about it like this. I make a contact. I'm prospecting. I make a contact. Right. It turns out to be a positive contact. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I don't mind meeting with you. This and that. Yeah. Let's talk. Right now, I'm a stranger that's just made a great contact, and we're developing the beginnings of rapport and a relationship. Right. Well, what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to Google me. They're going to want to see what they're looking for, social proof. Right. Well, when they do that social proof, when they do your prospects, your contacts, your potential customers and clients are doing their follow-up. And when they do their follow-up, what are they going to do? They're going to go search for you to see if what you're saying is matching what they're seeing. They're going to want to see if the audio on the phone is matching the video that they see. And if they either don't see anything, or the stuff that they see is counter what you've been saying. A lot of these people are putting out weird memes and weird videos where they talk crap about their clients and customers and things like that. Well, all it's going to do is just reinforce the ideas that they have about salespeople before they even meet you.
Right.
And then your conversion disappears at that point, right? So wait, I wanna take 2 steps back, Fanale, right? So we're talking about growth, we're talking about development, we're talking about the business of sales as it pertains to real estate.
Yeah.
Right. Most of the agents that are out there, and if there's one thing, I'm on a crusade to change this, right? If it's one thing that I can change, excuse the extra noise. I told you as soon as we broadcast that we're going to do this, right? If there was one thing that I could change with the realtors that I work with, it would be to get them to stop thinking of their real estate business like it was a job.
Talk to me about that. Go a little bit deeper on that, please.
So think about it like this. I get a new high-paying, high-profile job. I show up early. I put my pencils in my pencil case, and everything is there, and I've got everything. And what's the first thing that I do when I get to work? Well, I want to show them that they did a good job by hiring me. So I show out and I organize my space and I organize whatever job I'm doing, and I streamline it and I make my job to be the best at that job as possible, right?
Right.
And then because I did that and I gave my skills and I gave my time, at the end of the week, I'm going to get a paycheck, right? I've done the job trading time for money. When you own the business, that's not your focus. You don't show up for work and put your shit in order. You put your shit in order because people are going to show up for work. You put your shit in order because you want to grow. You put your stuff together for the future. You're always thinking 90, 180 days out, right?
Right.
The average employee is watching the clock so they can go home.
That's right.
The average owner, the average business person, the average CEO is watching the clock to see if they can squeeze another minute out of this hour.
Absolutely. It's like, oh shit, it's 3:00. What the hell did I get done today? Right. I got to get more done today. Right.
So the way I want agents to think, Fanale, and this is my crusade. I got agents that when they were at the desk, when they were working for someone else, would have dedicated 80 hours a week just to show that they were valuable to the person that hired them, but won't work 20 hours a week for themselves.
So let's look at that. Exactly. So I think one of the reasons is that, we can talk about, and I'll be really blunt, is I think the old brokerage model is broken. I think the coaching model that we've seen up until recently is broken. I mean, we've worked with some greats over the past few months, which is a different coaching model. And I'm not even going to go into brokerage model. That's not for today, right? So the coaching model and where the brokerage model is broken, and it always has been, is there's the phone, answer if it rings.
Yeah.
Right. But phones ain't ringing no more. Most broker owners and managers, most, not all, don't even understand what has to be done today. But here's the key, and I want to get into this. The most important thing is that we started this conversation is picking up the phone and prospecting. So if I said to you, what's the coaching method that you use, or the brokerage method, or the management message, or the mentor message, or the process that you're going to go through to work with agents to get them to produce more business? I think they produce more business because they've been trained and upskilled properly. They're going to work and get to that entrepreneurial level of saying, shit, it's 3:00. I got more calls to make. I got to get this done by 5. Rather than, oh shit, I got 2 hours left before I can go home. So where's everybody start? Because this is about agent growth. Let's talk about starting to grow.
I have a slightly different approach. Well, no, it's not slightly different approach. You broke it down. The old methods are broken, and the new methods are taking hold. First things first for every agent in my universe is make a mess. Right? It's start moving. Move in the direction.
If you're ready or not, just do it.
just start moving, right? The essence of what we're doing, and I joke about this, right? My kid and I will take Legos and we'll pour them out on the floor, right? And we'll start building, and we'll start grabbing Legos from different places, and then we'll put together whatever it is that we're building, and we'll get a nice, a nice shape and image, and it may not be perfect, but then once we start getting the idea of what we're doing, then it makes sense for us to then look at what we need in order to complete this thing, right? So we got a generalized image. We know what we want it to look like based on pictures, and we make a mess by pouring all the pieces out and then cleaning up to progress. We start cleaning up and putting things in order to progress. If you're an agent, if you're a brand new agent out the box, 99.95% of the time, paramount to you is feeding your family or whatever your needs are, your survival goals, right? And so planning, right? Planning is not going to help you survive. You got to get the fire started, you got to get some food, and you got to get warm and dry, right? And so if we think about survival, let's just take care of our basic needs first. Then the next stage is success, right? We start moving towards success. When we've got our basics taken care of, now we can start thinking of growth. Now we can start thinking down the line. So the very first lesson that I teach every single agent is make a mess, and then, to use the Fanale terminology, clean up to progress, right? That first stage is getting them in the business. That's lead generation. That's picking up the phone. That's communicating with everybody. And this actually doesn't cost much money, but it costs a lot of time. So in the beginning,
0 to 60.
Right. It's a 0 to 60. It's a zero cost in money, high cost in time. As we move further down the line, I don't know if I could do this, right? So 0 cost in money, high cost in time. As you start to move down the line, these things crisscross. Right. And so as you start to build your business, as you start to make money, you're going to have less and less time to yourself. So you're going to have to leverage more money in order to continue down that path. But what will happen is that the returns will start to come at a higher level. Now, what most agents, I think, do wrong is that they spend a ton of time planning, and they spend a ton of money in the beginning to leverage zero business.
But you know why they do that? I'm convinced the reason they do that is because they're listening to the wrong people.
Yeah.
They're listening to that agent that has done a few deals that really is not killing it. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think 10 or 12 deals a year is crushing it. There's people out there that are so happy to do $5 million in volume. And there's people out, which could be like 13, 14 deals in the year.
Yeah.
Right. There's an agent in our universe with the Links residential team that did 18 deals in the first quarter this year.
And is probably the type of business person that's trying to figure out how to get to 20 in a month. It's trying to figure out how to squeeze another minute out of the unforgiven hour. And you know what I mean?
Right. You don't have to be a machine. You just got to do the work, and you gotta listen to the person. Look, I don't care who you're with, what company it is, but you went there for a reason. So if that person said they're going to help you, make them help you. Make them tell you what to do. Make them make you successful so that you can give back to them, right? As I said in a recent video, I said, you know what? As a coach, I want your success. I don't want your money. But as a broker, I needed your money.
Right. Well, that's that old model, right? Where I'm pressing on the folks. Let me do this, right? So last month, the month of March, we did this thing called March to a Million. Right. The agents that we're coaching, the teams that we're coaching, everybody, just so that it was clear, everyone that was in our universe, in our ecosystem, committed to do at least $1 million worth of contracts in the month of March. Right. So now these, I don't know, primarily newer agents that have been in the business less than a year or less, or maybe there might be some that are around 2 years or something like that. But these are folks that all last year in 2020, all of their business was developed basically virtually, right? And now 2021, we were in the first quarter, the last month of the first quarter, we said we were going to each put at least $1 million worth of business under contract in the month of March. And then we added 2 words, at will. Right. And so what I'm noticing is that there's a will attached to the 20%ers, the ones that are doing the business, that is not present in the ones who refuse to show up to work for their own job. So this agent, and I'm going to announce one of the winners, right? The winner of the March to $1 Million is a woman named Jamira, right? Jamira Lashley. And she's down in she's in the Carolinas, and she's a relatively new agent. At will. You hear me when I say this? At will. She put $2.7 million under contract in the month of March. Now, what does that say? That says that no matter what everyone else was doing, no matter what complaints was being made, she made the decision to show up for work. She showed up for her business. Now, everyone else did very well. I want to be very, very, very clear. Everyone else did $1 million, $1.5 million, close to $1 million, et cetera, et cetera.
So let's just say one thing about this group, which is Commitment to Capping Group, and it's at night. We do it 6 nights a week, right? It's right there. I want to say something. We talk about the 80-20 rule. And then when we talk 80-20 there, it's 20% do really well, 80% don't. This is the other way around.
Yeah.
The people in this group is a 20-80 group. And the ones in the 20 are just about to be in the 80.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So we're not perfect, but I would tell you something. The way we've been able to do it, and that's why we're doing this called Real Estate Agent Growth today, is because we've got the success and the proof for it. Keep going, brother.
Well, what I want to point out is that there was no special formula that was applied. The operative words were at will. Right. It was the idea that if something went wrong, or if something wasn't right, or if something wasn't quite there yet, or if something needed adjustment, they took action. So the second step that I would tell every agent, what would make them positive and powerful and growth worthy in this market, is to make the decision. You have a great section where you talk about decide, the side part, to kill off the other options. It is to make the decision. Since most of business is mindset, right? I say something like 88 or 85% of business is all mindset. And if your mindset is locked into the at will part of the development, that no matter what, you're going to do what you say you're going to do, you have no choice but to succeed. You're going to do incredibly well no matter what. Every night we're giving shout outs to agents that are breaking the mold, that are breaking through, that are not giving up.
Breaking their own personal barriers as well.
Yeah. Breaking their personal, shit happens, right? I mean, that's life, right? Yep. Shit happens, right?
Yep.
And these are the folks that are like, oh, well, shit happens, but let me just keep moving so I don't stay where it stinks. Right? I mean, it just
you got to be moving forward to step in shit.
You got to be moving forward to step in shit. There's no way you can do it if you're standing still, right? And you're going to step in shit every once in a while. Things are going to break. Things are going to fail. And it is your ability to move through it that really, really is going to show the difference between the kids and the grown-ups.
So now what I want to do is I want to talk to a segment of the people that need to understand exactly what we've been talking about for the past few minutes, which is taking action. Made a decision. You decided, right? You decided. When you decide, I'll give everybody a good example of this really quickly, right? You go to a restaurant, you've got the menu in front of you. You don't know if you want the chicken parm, the steak, or the veal saltimbocca, right? Right? So you decide on the chicken parm. You decided on the chicken parm. So the steak and the veal are gone. So when you're sitting there, maybe you get served a salad or a drink or whatever, all you're thinking about is that chicken parm. because that's what really wet your whistle. And anytime the waiter goes by, the server goes by with somebody else's food, you're looking like this to see if is that my chicken parm?
Is that mine?
It's not. It's not. You're not thinking about the steak or the other thing. So I want you to understand. There are people out there that keep chasing new things. They keep chasing different ideas. Hey, you know what? You're talking to the #1 chaser in the world, right? I know what it is to look at things. I had to have my coach recently tell me, you need to cut all those bullshit emails from other coaches and other people out of your life because you're never going to make progress unless you do. So what did I do? I cut them all out. I either unsubscribed or they go right into a folder. I never see them. Guess what? My focus improved. Why do I bring this all up? Because there are people that keep saying, oh, that sounds really good. Let me do that. Oh, so I hired this guy. Let me do that. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a video program. Let me do that too. And now you've got 2, 3, 4 things you're concentrating on and you suck at all of them. Right? So recently I had the opportunity to clear my head. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I realized that I need to do one thing at a time. Yeah. Now, I need to have one major project, but there's a lot of little things, a lot of little pieces to my business that need to be approached and need to be handled every week. But I do that. Mm-hmm. But I have one major project, right? My goal this week was the inner circle that you and I are involved in. I did a lot of work on that, right? And I'm going to do more today and more tomorrow. And that is going to be my #1 thing because that's how I'm going to build my business. So I'm looking at my business. What do I want? What do I need? Yeah. I know what I need to achieve a week. And damn straight, right now, I'm achieving what I need to achieve every week. Why? Because there's no more here, there, everywhere, right?
Steak and veal saltimbocca. And
yeah, right. No more. Yeah, well, it's good stuff. But anyway, you like that though, didn't you? Yeah. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Well. No. To add to your point, right? Just so that we're clear, right? I get all the same distractions as you. All the agents out there are getting the same kind of the emails and if I can just give a bit of advice, this is I think $1 million bit of advice. If the service starts with don't do this anymore, fuck it. It's a terrible service. If your service says, you know what, don't cold call anymore, or no more cold calls, or no more this, or no more that, or no more inbound Facebook leads, or no more having to do X, Y, and Z. If the service is telling you to stop working, it's a terrible service. Right. It's a terrible service.
Here's what I believe a coach should do. And there's 2 main approaches. And you and I have these 2 main approaches. My approach is, okay, what are you doing that you like to do?
Yes.
Okay. How can that work with what I specialize in? If it can't, we're not a good fit. And I don't want to, and we can't work together. We can be friends, call me up anytime, but it's not something I can really help you with. And that's what I focus on. With you, it's, this is what you've got to say. Don't stop what you're doing that's working, but maybe you want to add this to it. Am I right?
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes.
Talk about
adjust. You know what, Dave? Look, let's take commitment to capping for an example, right? So I could easily charge $1,500, $2,000 a month for the stuff that we put in there, right?
Right.
And I'm an expensive ass coach. If you're one-on-one with me, I'm expensive and I'm very valuable. We're worth it. I won't let people coach with me unless they're in the 20%ers. And the people are like, well, that's, I have a very simple test for it, right? You come into commitment to capping. I don't charge you to come into commitment to capping. We don't charge for it. Come on in. The information is free. I'll even tell you what you do to develop business.
Right.
If you want more, if you want to coach with us, before you can coach with us, you have to qualify. What is it that you have to do to qualify? There's 1 or 2 or 3 things that you would have to do to qualify. I eliminate most of the time wasters, most of the 80% by just having a qualifier, right? By just having a qualifier. And so people are like, but then, don't you make less money? No, I make a shit ton of money. We do very, very well. It's just that I would not honor my customers and clients. I would not be honoring the 20% if I diluted the information for folks who were not going to be at the highest level possible.
Right.
Right. And so when I guess I advertise, I don't know, when I send out my, hey, come join us at Commitment to Capping, I'm looking for the top graded talent. I'm looking for the top graded talent. I am sending messages out. I am making calls. I am making texts. I am following up relentlessly to see if it makes sense for us to work together. And what I am okay with, and this is what I think most agents are avoiding. Most agents are avoiding learning that it doesn't make sense to work with some of these people.
Right. Right.
And that, I think, is the problem. The problem is that most of us are working on an illusion and not on reality. I don't want to call because they're going to hang up on me. Well,
that's the Sekou, the prospecting, the calling, all this stuff, where all comes down to one thing, that is the basis of your business, right? The 7 pillars, I call them: sphere of influence, for sale by owners, expireds, withdrawns, social media, open houses, and circle prospecting.
Yes, sir.
Those are the basic pillars of your business. There's so many others you can add to it, but these are the basic pillars. If you can get the prospecting down to your sphere of influence, and please don't bullshit me and tell me you're working by referral, because you're doing it by accident. You're not working it. Because if you were really doing it and you had 200, around 200 in your sphere, you wouldn't need any other business. Okay.
And you'd have a system around how to do it over and over and over again.
That's right. And that's the basis. And that's real estate agent growth with is that plus, and I talk about scripts and dialogues all the time. I have a session to do that once a week, and I've got a coaching session once a week. Anybody's interested in that, just you're welcome to join us. But same thing with commitment to capping. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, I got to interrupt. The call that I have been stressed out about is coming in. So I've got to take it. It's only going to be a 5-minute call, but I don't want to interrupt us. I love you so much. Listen, follow Dave Fanale, talk to Dave.work. Follow me, SekouPyle.work. I want to help. Have a good one, Dave.
Goodbye. Take care,
I'm sorry, man.
No worries. No worries. We'll finish this up next week. We'll do it again. So anyway, guys, the whole point behind everything that we're talking about is all about your business. It's all about what you're doing to build your business. So the bases and the basics of what we've got to do are this. Number one, you've got to prospect. You've got to have a schedule and you've got to have a structure. This is number one. This is real estate agent growth 101, right? So 101 is this. You need to have a schedule, right? You need to also have a ritual, which is morning time. It can be afternoon. If you don't get to what you want to do, which is ritualized, you can do it later on. Sometimes, hey, you know what? I overslept my alarm today. Sometimes I don't need an alarm, but I've been working 15, 16-hour days to get a lot of stuff done. So I needed my alarm. Guess what? I heard it. I didn't touch it. And I slept through it. Not like me, right? But it happened. So I'm not going to worry about it. If I can get what I need to do in the morning, which is my affirmations, which is my gratitude journal, which is all that, that's how I start the day. The way you go from there and how you structure it is as a real estate agent, whether you're new, whether you're experienced, whether you're killing it, your structure should be really pretty much the same. Ritual, morning, practice, prospecting, follow-up. You do not do any research during your prospecting. You do not do any follow-up during your prospecting. You actually, if you're going to when you prospect, I would say don't use this thing, use a dialer, right? Now, people are saying, well, how do I get the numbers? How do I get the information to prospect? It's really pretty simple. You either figure it out by researching it the day before, which is what your afternoon can be for if you're not showing or previewing, right? You figure it out. Maybe it's fizzbonanza.com. Maybe it's forsalebyowner.com. Maybe it's going checking out the expireds on MLS and then going to truepeoplesearch.com. I just gave you a wealth of information just there, right? So that's stuff that you should be using, right? So the question I have for you is, what does your day look like, right? What does your day look like, right? So your day should look like, as I said, ritual, practice, prospect, follow-up. If you need help, if you're not going to use this phone, you're going to use a service like the Red X, like Vulcan 7, Espresso Agent, Mojo Dialer, right? So I had my first experience with Mojo Dialer recently. What a great thing. People say, well, I want to do it myself. Good. If you've got 100 calls to make, it's going to take you twice as long. I don't care if you're using just a single dialer, but here's the point. You've got to do that. So the next issue that's going to come up with a lot of real estate agents is, well, I don't know what to say. And they say that my script that I'm using, they've heard everybody else say. Well, here's the thing. How are you saying it? Are you reciting it? Are you robotic? Are you saying it and talking like you talk? How are you doing it? That's the big question, is how are you doing it? See, it's scripts and dialogues, two completely different things, right? Scripts and dialogues. What are they? Script is what to say. A dialogue is how to say what you say. So here's the best way to look at it. If you're practicing, you're doing really well, right? So let's get back to one thing, is that there's two schools of thought as to why you don't want to do those calls. One is that you're not prepared, which is the scripts and dialogues, right? You need to know what to say. And guess what? If you suck at practice and you're not practicing, I mean, you know what? Let's look at some GOATs. Greatest of all time, Tom Brady. I'm going to use Derek Jeter because I think he's one of the greatest of all time. One of the greatest of all time, right? What did they do before the last championship game? They practiced. What did they do the first day of spring training or summer camp? They practiced. What did they do off season? They practiced, or they worked out, or they worked on different skills. Did you know in baseball they have a winter league down in down in South America and in Central America and in the islands? They've got a winter league, and a lot of ball players go down there and play winter league. They work on skills because the major leagues in baseball is where it's all at. But they're practicing, and after they practice, guess what they do? They play in the real game. So that's why your day starts there. Your structure is extremely important as to what you're going to be doing as far as building a business. Real estate agent growth, it's hard, but it's kind of easy. If you go to a job 9 to 5, as I said earlier in this broadcast with Sekou, it's a matter of, here's the list, call it. Well, guess what? You got to find the list. You got to do it yourself to call it. If you know how to say and how to talk to people, it's pretty simple. How do you talk to people? Let me ask you a question. Do you have a very close relative, an uncle, an aunt? I like to use this person, this, for me, a fictitious person called my Uncle Joe. So if I'm going to talk to Uncle Joe, this is my dialogue. I'm going to talk to Uncle Joe, right? And this is how we start. And remember the 7 pillars. It's sphere of influence, which should be your number one thing that you're working on as far as the business of building your business, right? My background keeps going out on me because the battery's not working well. But anyway, I digress, right? So your sphere of influence is very important to you, and it's your number one thing that you need to do with business. It's plain and simple, right? It's your number one prospecting tool, your number one. Then there's for sale by owners, expires, withdrawals, social media, open houses, and circle prospecting. Why is circle prospecting last? A lot of people like to circle prospect, and they're very successful with it. As a matter of fact, one of the top agents in the country, the top teams in the country, Dan Beer, the Beer home team, he bases a lot of his business on circle prospecting. And I get to be in a mastermind with this guy once a week where we talk about, understand, this guy has a team doing more than $300 million in volume a year, right? And I'm on a call with this guy and he breaks it down really simple. Because the whole thing is circle prospecting works. All of these things work, but you've got to do them. And that's where the basis of your business is. Your sphere of influence, number one. But you've got to do all this work and you've got to get it all together. You know, I want to thank everybody for coming on. Unfortunately, Sekou had to get off real quick, but I want to just go through a couple of more things and then we'll call it. Number one, you need to do the work. Number two, you can't be chasing different shiny objects. You can't see a shiny object on social media because that's what this is supposed to do. It's called advertising. It's called marketing, right? You don't want to be the greatest agent consumer in the world because if you're the consumer, you're going to consume and it's going to hold you back. What is working? Okay, well, nothing's working. I hear that a lot. Nothing's working. Why? Because you're not focused. Laser focus is what you got to do, right? Laser focus. Decide. Put the steak and the veal behind you and go for the chicken parm, or put the steak in front of you. Whatever it is, decide on what you're going to eat or what you're going to prospect with that day. But you've got to do it 5 days a week, not 2. You really should be doing 3 hours a day, right? So I don't want you to go chasing one good idea. I don't want you to go chasing that magic pill. I need you to understand that the skills you need to work on are right in front of you and they're simple and you can do it yourself or with a coach like myself, Sekou, whatever. Commitment to Capping is every night from Sunday to Friday, not Saturdays, at 8 p.m. If you're interested in learning about scripts and dialogues, that's a Thursday from 5 to 7. We work on scripts and we work on dialogues. If anyone has a script that they want to work on or a situation that came up that they need help with, we talk about that in the beginning and we build our process off that of those 2 hours, right? Check out SekouPyle.work, Talk-TGIF.work. I want to help you with your business. If you're interested in how I can help you, let me. Talk-TGIF.work. And I end every broadcast, every TGIF, with a question of my guest. But you guys are going to be my guest right now, the ones that will watch this to the end and the ones that are on it right now. How can I help you grow your business? With that said, I want to wish everybody a happy weekend. It is Easter for those who celebrate it. Happy Easter. God bless, and we'll see you next time.